Hey, it's Shapiro, here we go. Knows the road rules better than most folks know. Ask your questions, bring the heat or keep it chill. He's got the answers and a license to spill. Ask a traffic cop, Sean's your guy. Breaking it down, no lie, no tie. Knows the stuff and things to keep you clear. Ask away, he's the voice you want to hear. Badge, now a podcast star, navigating traffic laws near and far. Stop sign confusions or a signal light feud. Sean's the one to give you the right attitude. Yeah, ask a traffic cop, Sean's your guy. Breaking it down, no lie, no tie. Knows the stuff and things to keep you clear. Ask away, he's the voice you want to hear. From this man. Ask a traffic cop, Sean's your guy. Breaking it down, no lie, no tie.
I forgot I still had the Christmas jingle thing programmed. Let's remove that. Happy New Year, everybody. My name is Sean Shapiro. This is episode 1 of season 4, the first of 2026. I'm really stoked to be back online. I hope you're doing well. Hope your New Year's and Christmas and Hanukkah and everything was awesome and safe and merry and all that jazz, because mine was actually really warm. I was down south. And what's funny, I'll get this out of the way right now. A lot of people were pissed off that I was in the United States during the holiday season. They said, how dare you go and support that economy during, Orange Man. That's what they referred to the president of the United States as. And you know what? I got family in the States. I wanted to see them. Why is that a problem? It shouldn't be a problem. Politics and family shouldn't mix. I love my family. I went to see them. It was warm there. Bloody expensive. How is it that McDonald's here is $60 for a family and there it's $60 for a family, but then you have to add 40% for exchange? It was expensive. That said, I had a fabulous time. The weather was magical. So was the mouse. Mickey says hi. It was just a great time. We really enjoyed our time there because time with family is what it's all about. That's what it's all about for me anyway. And, that's the thing. Now, if you are watching, you don't know who I am. I'm Sean Shapiro, former police officer. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and whatever else comes up during the show. And today we're going to be joined by Jerry Yeager on News Talk 1010 at 10:35. We'll be talking to him about a trend, a positive trend. Is it a trend? We saw a reduction in fatalities in Toronto, 2025 to 2024 to 2025. There were 10 fewer road fatalities over the year. We'll talk about it because I think it's really important. Yeah. In the meantime, if you got questions, I generally have answers. If you drop them in the comments, we'll chat about them, regardless of what platform you're on, because we're on a bunch of them. Yes, we are on TikTok, YouTube, we're on Instagram, we're on Rumble, we're on X, we're on Twitch with Dre Studios. We're everywhere. And if I can see your comment, I will answer it. Somebody wants to sell me followers for $100. No, thanks. We're good. By the way, we're almost at 50,000 followers on TikTok. Now, if you've been following me for a long time, I used to be on the Toronto Police Traffic Services page. And on that page, I had 650,000 followers. I don't have that now. That's okay. It's not about followers. It's about you. It's about making that connection, being available to talk to you and answer questions that you might have. But it's nice that we're getting bigger every day. So we have almost 50,000, like just shy. It's like 49.9 thousand followers on TikTok. We're just over 1,000 followers on YouTube, so thank you for helping to grow to the 1,000. That was my big goal for last year, and we did it. I'd love to see it go more, but I'm not worried. As long as you can find me, I'm good. Now we're also on the other stuff. We're on X and we're on Twitch, and you know what? It's just so we can be everywhere. Because the more opportunities for you to find me means you're going to have that chat that you wanted to have. Because there's questions you might have. And the whole goal about the live show is to have as many conversations and questions, because the questions that are brought up that you might think are silly might be something that somebody else really wanted to know. And they didn't know they wanted to know it until you asked it. So whatever you want to talk about, drop it in the comments. Thank you. Ridgeline Outdoors sent some gifts. Appreciate you. Any monies that come in goes to the not-for-profit. You see bettertraffic.ca. That's the not-for-profit organization that sort of umbrellas what we do with Ask a Traffic Cop. And of course, a shout out to our sponsors. We have a number of them. We have Diamond & Diamond Lawyers. They're the largest the personal injury law firm in Canada. They're amazing. They're big supporters of the show and what I do in traffic safety. I go on their podcast. They help support this one. The goal is to educate people. And thank you to them. We have ifinallywill.com. They're a new sponsor that came on at the end of the year. They will help you protect your family by producing a will. What happens if you were to die? Well, if you don't have a will, things just sort of get left and you don't know if what you wanted happens. So you got to put it in a will. They do it online, quick and easy, really low cost. And if you use code AATC, that's at Alpha Alpha Tango Charlie, Ask a Traffic Cop, you get 50% off. You can't beat that. That's awesome. We also have the fine folks at Barrett Legal who do all sorts of, there's a trend here. Law people appreciate the whole traffic safety thing. But if you want to sponsor us, by all means, you can go to the website. You can go to Better Traffic. You can go to askatrafficcop.ca. You can give us PayPal, buy me a coffee. You can talk about becoming a corporate sponsor because we'd love that. Anyway, moving along. We've got Rusty who wants to know about some stuff and things. We'll get to you in just one second. But Ridgeline Outdoors says, hello from Cold Lake, Alberta. How cold is it in Cold Lake? You've never heard that question before. It's not terribly cold here. But I am really curious how it's doing elsewhere. But hello, Cold Lake, Alberta. Glad to have you on the show. Just a reminder to anyone watching, this show does focus on Ontario law because I was a cop in Ontario. That's not to say we can't look up and talk about other things, but I am definitely the Ontario pro. And if you have cops that are friends or people that you know in your jurisdiction and you want better representation of the laws in your jurisdiction, tell them to talk to me. Go to askatrafficcop.ca. You can click on the link that says, be a guest on the show. I'd love to have cops from different jurisdictions join the show and be the expert for their place, for their thing. Ipsic Girl Goal Crusher joined. G'day. I got to go to the range. I haven't been to the range in forever. But IPSC is the International Practical Shooting Confederation, and we like the shooting games. Shooting games good. Speaking of shooting games, we have a new sponsor coming on, a new relationship with DT. Yes, it's Decision Tactical. I was there in Florida. I got a chance to check out their operation. Coolest thing ever. Decision Tactical. Check them out. You can go watch on YouTube, but it's basically a training simulator that like you've never seen for people who want to train like the police, but they also train the police. Just the most amazing thing. We'll talk about it in the coming weeks and months, and I'll get you some discount codes if you want to go down there. But I think everybody would do better by having the experience or by experiencing what they do there. I certainly had a great time. It also reminded me just how out of practice I am as a frontline officer, because I'm not a frontline officer anymore. In fact, I wasn't a frontline officer for the last 5 years of my career because I was just behind a desk after my crash. I really missed being on the road. But what they did is they gave me an opportunity to sort of relive a lot of the training that I used to do as a police officer. And I could do for some updated training because, wow. Anyway, amazing stuff. Defensive tactics training, Decision Tactical is the name. Okay. Nicholas Rizzi, who I've been watching nonstop online with his jokes and fun. Man, you crack me up. It's some of the most inappropriate jokes I've ever heard. But Nicholas Rizzi, the Riz man, yeah, he's been invading my For You page on TikTok. You can check out it. Good to see you, my friend. Happy New Year. Manan says, long time no see. It's truly been a while. I was away for 3 weeks. I really didn't produce any content. I did post a couple of things and engage with some comments, but I haven't been producing content. So I'm really geared up and excited to be back in action. Also been talking about doing some early morning live streams. So 10 o'clock is great. I did 10 o'clock a long time ago as Jerry Agar went into a later time slot. I used to do 8 o'clock in the morning. And I stayed late for Jerry Agar till his show came on, and then he'd started up, and at 9:30 we'd go live together, or I'd go live on his show. And then he stopped going live at 9 and started going live at 10. So I just started going later, and I realized that a lot of my audience wants to see or has time to have these chats earlier in the day. So I think we're going to go back to like a 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning show. At the very least, we're going to experiment with it and see how it goes, because it's about being where you need me to be. I can do this at any time. CC Brando, what's going on? He says, Sean, long time no see. Good to see you. Hope you had a great week. Keep up the great work. Love the show. Thanks very much, Brando. Appreciate it. So many folks have messaged and wished, good stuff and things over the holidays. I really appreciate all the message. We've got here. Oh, he's got a question. We'll continue on the Brando 1234, who says, on the topic of reduced collisions, what would you say would be the biggest factor in less fatalities? And I think the biggest difference between a fatality and not a fatality is energy. And oddly enough, energy tends to be speed. When people are driving slower, the risk of death is lower. When you go faster, the risk of death and serious injury are higher. It's a simple correlation. They're directly connected. You can have a crash at 20K and you might dent your bumper and you might, break some legs if you hit a pedestrian, but they're probably going to survive. And if you hit them at 60 or 70, they're not. They're just not. And the faster you go, the worse it gets. Let's see here. Ipsic Gold Crusher had said, good morning, sir, and I missed that. But I do, I see you now. Oh, wow. She was just saying that she shoots more in a month than most officers think. Oh, than most officers? Most officers shoot about 100 plus rounds a year. Unless you are a gun person, and I was since the age of 15, I was into the shooting sports. Yeah, if you aren't actively interested in firearms and becoming a ninja of sorts, you don't train, and that's a problem. And it used to be easier. Like I used to shoot weekly with the police when we had ranges at different divisions, but when but they shut down those ranges, and then you had to arrange it to go to the police range. It was difficult. It was difficult, and time is precious, so it didn't happen as much as we would have liked. But it is. It's one of those things. Let's see here. I apparently have this in the wrong setting. There we go. So if you're interested, if you're a shooter in the gun club, there's a gun club at the police. There's an actually shooting club where people meet and do tactical shooting within police organization. That's really great. They actually shoot competitively around the world. So there's some phenomenal people, and there's people who are tactically inclined or in tactical units. They train constantly, like the ETF and other tactical units. Different situation than what we're talking about. And I see a whole bunch of stuff coming in. Franco and Frank Zoltan. We'll get to your stuff in a second. I don't know if I believe the numbers you just threw out there, but we'll get out in a second. Dre wants to know if his car can reach 100 kilometers an hour in reverse. Can I drive on the highway in reverse? LOL with an emoji. We know he's joking, and the answer is no. That would not be safe. And rear steer, not easy to control. And that would have to be very, very no. Don't do that. David Dett, my retired friend, retired from policing and now into other stuff and things, says, hello, my friend. Can't stay long working, but have a great day. I got to come visit you and see your new uniform all shiny. He's rookie again after a lot of years as a police officer. He's now working in another capacity, so it's good. Alam says, good morning. Good morning to you. And Jerry Hudson, I see you. Okay, let's see. Let's go back down to Brandon. Brandon, I was thinking of you. I was hoping we were going to connect when I was in Florida, but it didn't happen. He says, "Good morning, Sean and all from Ontario, en route to YYZ to Florida bound after 2 months away. Hope you all had an amazing day." So he was in Scotland. Do I remember correctly? You were in the Europe, and I was hoping to meet up with you because he's often in Florida at the Disney, and I was at the Disney, so I was hoping to meet up with Brandon there, but it didn't work out. Julie Massey, good morning. Good morning. Then we've got Mary Lynn who says, "Hello, Sean. Happy New Year. Take care." Thank you. Thank you. We've got Manan who says, "Hope you enjoyed your holiday, Sean." Question on right lanes. I sometimes see signboard that says buses accepted. Would like to get more clarity. I see. As I have seen general cars turning there, generally avoid turning there. So I think what you're talking about are the signs that say it's right turn. However, buses are accepted and can go straight through. That's what I think we're talking about. So if it's a right turn lane and everyone is required to make the right turn in that lane, then going straight would be a problem for you, but not for a bus because they're exempt. Dre's down for a range day. Dre, we got to get you to the range. Let me know when you want to get together. We'll take you to the range. Dre and I have known each other for years now. And he's going to Daytona, Florida tomorrow morning. I'll send you some pictures from the track down there till the 25th. Is that, are you going down with the team? Because Dre is with the team. But he's also, I'm sure, with well, I won't reveal any more information, but he deals with fast cars on tracks. Okay. 41G54H says if a driver goes 80 kilometers an hour on the left lane on the highway, can you pass him on the right, staying under the speed limit? Okay. So first thing you have to understand is, yes, passing is intended to be in the left lane. The left lane is the passing lane, not the fast lane, not the go, zoom lane. It's just where passing should occur, and it should stay clear as a lane, only to be used for passing when possible. Obviously, when you're in traffic, it doesn't apply. But, and there's a but, can you pass someone on the right? Because there's a law in the books that says you can't. It says you can't pass on the right, but it's not meant for multi-lane highways. That law is intended for a 2-lane road. And if you're in a 2-lane road and someone's slowing down to make a left turn, can you pass them on the right? Well, if it's a paved shoulder, you can. And if it's a gravel shoulder, you can't legally. And if you're in a multi-lane road, you change lanes and you keep going where you're going. And the person on the left should eventually get pulled over by police and investigated, because you shouldn't be camping in the left lane doing 80 and 100. It's just not safe. It's not. It's not necessarily the worst thing that could happen. It just pisses everybody off. And there's people who are doing 20, 30, and 40 over the limit. And when they meet the person who's going 20 under, the speed differential is huge. So if you're going to do the speed limit, which is what you should do, the maximum speed, even when passing, is the speed limit, just stay to the right. Everyone should be out of the left lane unless they're actively passing. And you're not actually allowed to exceed the posted speed limit, even to pass. By the way, people in Florida go way fast. The driving was insane in Florida. Yeah. Rizzy says, Rizzy wants to know stuff and things. What is the science behind breath analyzer and how does it work? How does my breath have blood alcohol? How come bars don't have them to prevent drunks getting behind the wheel of a car? That is, I don't actually know the science. I mean, I don't understand because I'm not a breath technician, so I don't have to. I have friends that are, and I can go find out the answer to your question. I just don't have one off the top of my head. I honestly don't understand. Other than I was trained to use the machine, but not the instrument. I was trained to use a roadside screening device that was approved. I understood that it did certain things, and I tested it and it worked. It worked. And if it didn't work, it didn't work. And that was it. How it worked and how it was calibrated and how the science of it, not my problem, which is good because it would just confuse things. But now I'm really interested to know, so I'm going to look into it. If you're watching the show and you're new, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. I'm no longer a police officer. It says so on the screen. The show is called Ask a Traffic Cop because I still know all the stuff and things. It didn't disappear when I left the job. That said, some people have said, you should change the name to Ask a Former Traffic Cop. Well, no, because the show's the show. And we're going to have some new coppers and current coppers join the show from time to time. It's going to continue to be Ask a Traffic Cop. But I'm very openly no longer an active police officer. I'm a former police officer. Uh, boom, boom, boom. Bobby Benny says, "Good morning, sir. Good to see you today. Had a question about car silencer / mufflers. What's the legal limit for pipe modifications?" It can't be, well, it has to be legal. It has to meet the requirements under law, and I don't know the number offhand. Um, but whatever the standard is for certification is going to be required. In addition to that, it cannot make obnoxious noise, unnecessary noise. And in some provinces, now I'm talking from a perspective of Ontario, some provinces say anything other than stock is illegal. Like in Alberta, you cannot modify your vehicle, period. You can't tint the windows with anything. You can't make it louder. You can't do anything, which makes no sense to me. But hey, they do a lot of things that don't make sense to me. I see 4 kids in a Porsche, but I have actually Porsche. I've been ignoring the TikToks. So let me get to their questions. I got to look at different screens for different stuff. Frank Zolt. Oh, wait. Franco's first. Oh, and actually, way back this week is warm in Cold Lake, Alberta, according to Ridgeline Outdoors. It says very warm this week, but normally minus 40. Ugh, minus, my beard is not long enough to bundle up. That is not okay. I don't want minus 40 anywhere near that. Franco says if a driver goes 8, we talked about Franco's. He put it in the other platforms. We got you. Okay. Tank Trey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. Now on to Frank Zoltan. I usually go around 337 kilometers an hour every day at least once. What can you do? Nothing, because I don't get. Well, Frank, you're full of crap. You don't do 337 every day, but it's a good try, and I love it when people make outlandish claims, but we see them as that. We'll move on. So he says he does that speed and he doesn't get caught. Yeah. If it was true, which it's not, I know you're full of crap, but if it was true, you deserve to go to jail. You're someone who should be charged criminally for dangerous driving, for speed alone. That's significant enough speed that I would say criminal charges, in addition to the stunt driving, in addition to the speeding, in addition to everything else, criminal charges. Is it Nuev? Any tips for burnout, especially given constant negative light around law enforcement work? I'm assuming you're a police officer based on that, or in some level of law enforcement. And you know what? You need to stay positive. You need to understand and remember that there's good people. And even though the vocal people who are anti-police are vocal and in your face, they don't constitute everybody. The vast majority of people, as silent or quiet as they may be, love and respect and need you. And it's disheartening to see all the crap that the media spins up. And it's terrible to see how it's misrepresented in the media. But that isn't everybody. And what you're doing as a hero, what you're doing as a protector, is not only necessary and needed, it's wanted and appreciated by the vast majority of people. What we need to do is get out of the culture of being quiet about it. We need to thank our police. We need to thank our military, our first responders, our emergency, our doctors, the people who do stuff that helps us as a whole. We need to thank them. And when you get a ticket for doing something wrong, you should thank them for that too, because they're helping to change the mindset to trying to make roads safer for everybody. Just a reminder, at 10:35, we're going to be joined by Jerry Agar on News Talk 1010. Jerry, that's what he looks like. If you heard his voice, but you never seen his face, that's the man. 416-872-1010 or toll free 1-877-518-5151 if you want to call in. We're going to be talking about some things in relation to Toronto traffic fatalities between 24 and 24, comparing 2024 to 2025 numbers, because they went down. And we're going to talk about it. But if you want to call in, if you want to call or text the first number, call only for the second one. We'll do that. We'll hear them pop in. We'll be on the air. We'll be on the air in Toronto. Yeah, it's a cool thing. Corpsefem says, any law that is just a fine is a tax on the poor. No, any law that is a fine or has anything imposed as a consequence is motivation so that people will make better decisions. If you break the law and you face consequence, you chose to break the law, or you were oblivious and you ought to have known what the law was, because that's how law works. Even if you didn't know, you ought to have known, and thus breaking the law, you get that little reminder. It's like a bee sting. Don't mess with bees. You get stung with a parking ticket. Don't. It was wasps, right? It was or hornets back in the day. They called them green hornets. It stings. The sting reminds you not to do it again. It's part of education through enforcement, and no sympathy here. If you get a fine, it's because you've done something wrong. I've been fined. I learned from those fines. Didn't want to pay him, paid them, didn't like the feeling of paying them, felt bad, remembered that. It's no different than any other kind of consequence. And when I say, when people relate it to, well, if it's money, it's obviously just attacking the poor. Well, first of all, anyone at any financial level or financial class, however you want to segregate people, they all have choice. And if I said to you that the option for all of these things is jail and hard labor, you'd say, well, that's terrible. You can't do that. That's not. So you'd complain about something else differently. But at the end of the day, it's all the same consequence. Without it, nobody cares. Nobody does anything. Boom, boom, boom. What's the cost of fine for no insurance? That's Archie Alpine who wants to know. They're coming in from TikTok. The answer is in Ontario, it's $5,000 to $25,000. Minimum fine, $5,000, maximum $25,000 for your first offense. It also has an option of, well, they can go by 6 months in jail or the fine or both. Don't drive with no insurance. And because aside from the no insurance component, you can be sued in Ontario for up to $2 million for a collision. You have no insurance. Where are they going to get the $2 million? From you. Yeah. That's got nothing to do with the fine. That's in addition to the liability, because y'all got liability. Positivity Troll says, shine in your own unique way. Keep shining. Right back at you. Thanks. I love the positivity stuff and things. Okay. Yes, my automation bot says, please start your question with cues so I can easily identify questions, because sometimes it just looks like dialogue amongst yourselves. So I do appreciate that when you put in a cue there. Just simple cue. I know you're talking to me with a question. Dre says, I saw something about Ontario changing the law that allows police to do random breathalyzer tests without cause. Is that true? How do you feel about that? Would that mean no more checkpoints? And thanks for re-asking it with the letter Q. The answer is it's been happening since, I believe, 2018. It's not a new law. So back in the day, prior to this change for mandatory alcohol screening, if I wanted to perform a roadside screening device or a screening device test, I wanted to test to see if you had alcohol. I had to have suspicion that you had alcohol in your bloodstream. And that means I had to have you admit to having alcohol in your blood. Because if I said to you, how many drinks have you had? And you said one, that's sufficient. I have to have the odor of an alcoholic beverage. I have to smell it on your breath. One of those two in order to make the demand for a roadside screening device. You admit to it or I smell it, essentially. Now, everybody can get it. Every single car I pull over, I could say, you are getting a mandatory alcohol screening test, because I no longer require suspicion. I can just test everybody. Now, it could be, I'm going to test every third car. I could test, as long as I read it in my book or I come to a plan prior to going out to perform these tests and perform my duties. Very often it's going to be everybody. People are just doing it. I'm pulling you over for a traffic stop because it's a traffic stop. I am going to perform this test, period. And it's required by law. And if you refuse it, the consequences are the same as if you would have blown over. So know that it's a legal request and that you must comply with it. But how do I feel about it? Catch a lot of people who don't present, with alcohol. They're over the legal limit and they're pushing the limits, or at least they shouldn't be behind the wheel of the car, but they are. So there you go. Okay. Going back to 4 kids in a Porsche. Can you talk about the optics of 2-tier policing? Is it a left-wing cause? There seems to be more patience if it's a conservative issue in terms of protest. We'll come back to it because I just heard the bleep bleep as my friends from News Talk jumped in. Let me pull them into the show. Hello there.
Hey, Sean. Coming up here, we got a minute. Thanks for joining us.
If you can keep us out of the music so it doesn't cause any YouTube issues, and we'll be ready to go whenever you pop back into our audio space.
Yep, it should be good now.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
All right.
Okay.
Cool. Stand by.
Cool. In just a few moments, less than a minute now, Jerry Agar will join us and we'll join them on News Talk 1010. They are broadcasting, because that's what they do as a radio station, all over the place. Southern Ontario and other places too, online. We'll be talking about stuff and things when they come back. If you got questions in the meantime, by all means, drop them in the comments. We'll come back to them and chat more once we're finished on the air. But you can also call in 416-872-1010. Call or text that number, or call toll free 1-877-518-5151. I was too fast because we're not ready yet. Yeah, so just a few months we'll be talking about stuff and things. I'm really looking forward to it. This is cool. It's nice to be back. See what kind of comments are coming in here. Storm Games and Vlogs says, Happy New Year, Sean. Since haven't seen you for almost a whole month. Haven't seen you since last year. Yeah, this is episode 1. We had over 100 episodes last year. This is episode 1 of the new season, season 4. I only started counting at a certain time. So this could be like technically season 5. Oh, no way. So when we were just talking about all this mandatory alcohol screening, Dre says they're changing it to not allow it anymore.
You're listening to Jerry Agar on the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
Okay, I don't know if this is a sign of some upcoming problem, but just a moment ago, here's what happened. I had taken off my headphones and my glasses. I was rubbing my eyes. I just felt like I needed to do that. And then Christian, who's producing here, said, hey, I just put such and such in your document. So I put my headphones on and couldn't understand why the screen didn't look any clearer. And then, oh, that's right. It's the glasses I'm supposed to put on.
It's the struggle we face daily with our glasses.
Okay, thank you for saying that, because he's like 22. So I was hoping it wasn't something because of my age.
It happened this morning. Don't worry.
All right. Hey, this is pretty cool if you're a Rush fan. This is your moment. News Talk 1010 wants to send you and a guest on an epic rock adventure to see Rush in Toronto. Here's the deal. If you win this, you get premium tickets to see Rush at Scotiabank Arena on August 7th, 2 nights at the Sheraton Centre Toronto Hotel, and $500 in spending money. All you have to do is listen to News Talk 1010 on the iHeart Radio app for 10 minutes a day. And then when the prompt pops up, click it and you're in. Each day you listen is another entry in the contest. So full details at newstalk1010.com and listen to us on the iHeart Radio app. Meanwhile, he's always doing something online, and we dip in every once in a while. The TikTok former traffic cop, Sean Shapiro, is here. Good morning.
Good morning and Happy New Year.
Well, Happy New Year to you, too, even though I thought we put a moratorium on Saturday on Happy New Year, but always good to have you. So here's a report from CTV. 2025 saw the fewest road traffic deaths in Toronto since Vision Zero plan launched 10 years ago. What's your first reaction to that?
Well, with 39 deaths last year, it's not something we should start doing a victory lap over. It's lower over the 10-year period, but it's only 10 lower than last year, and it could have been by chance. You know, it's 10 fewer families that were destroyed. Fantastic, but there's 39 that were still horribly impacted. And that doesn't even count the ones with serious bodily harm that didn't qualify as fatalities. So we didn't win anything yet. We still have lots of work to do.
Could those people who are in favor of the traffic cameras say, well, apparently the traffic cameras had a positive result and now 2026 will be worse again?
Well, we've seen speeds increase, and I'm getting feedback from folks in neighborhoods across Toronto and Ontario that say that they're already seeing people going super fast. I was going to say crazy fast, but super fast. And I'm seeing it myself. We're seeing all sorts of bad behavior coming up. So this could have been a dip and it might go up, but the traffic cameras were in place long before the stats got to that level. So I can't say that those are specifically involved. Listen, I was just in Florida. I went to a place, or I was going to go to a place at Disney, and I didn't. I had a headache. And the next morning, I read that there was a shooting there. So I avoided getting shot by having a headache. Like the chance, the randomness of things. You know, one more person could have left earlier and been involved in a collision, and it could have had a terrible, catastrophic result. There's a lot of chance that goes into it. Listen, the Toronto Police does amazing work, and the Vision Zero enforcement team is out there every day handing out tickets and trying to change behavior. But can we give them credit for the 10? I don't know.
Yeah, well, you're right. It's small numbers, and so any number that changes seems much higher when you put it forth as a percentage. But the fact that it went down is something to celebrate, and we hope that that can continue. How much of the time when, in your view, as the years that you had as a traffic cop, Sean Shapiro, how much of the time when there's a deadly encounter between a car and a pedestrian, is it the fault of the driver?
More often than not, it's the driver. There are times where I've charged pedestrians for walking out in front of cars, and it's unavoidable. There's nothing that the vehicle driver could have done to avoid it. But more often than not, the person driving the big old vehicle has more responsibility and is more often than not responsible for the action. That said, there's other things that contribute to making it worse, again, within the control of the driver. Speed is a huge one that changes the outcome of these collisions.
All right. Well, people generally blame it on speed. And I guess part of it, too, is a number of these occurrences take place at intersections, don't they?
Especially the ones involving pedestrians, you know, when it's turning movements involved and big trucks or just cars not paying attention. I see a lot of folks who make right turns on reds without stopping. That's a huge issue. And I don't know if it's a cultural thing or it's just people becoming lazy, but this whole concept of not coming to a stop before making a right turn has got to be corrected, because I imagine a large number of collisions are occurring because of this. They're not seeing what's coming out of the sidewalk and they're striking them. But then there's the mid-block crossings where people are legally crossing. Pedestrians are legally crossing, and they're not able to gauge the speed of the driver who's going way too fast, and then a collision occurs.
I had an incident last week. I went to Sherway Mall and I parked in the parking garage that they have there because there were no spots out in the open area. So I had to walk a little further, but that's all right. I was trying to go to Italy to get some stuff, and I was crossing an intersection there. It's not the street; it's a parking lot area. So, but a car came up, woman was driving, she had a stop sign, and I'm crossing in front of the stop sign. She claimed that she stopped. She didn't. She rolled through. But regardless, I'm crossing as a pedestrian. There's a stop sign. She has an obligation to wait for me to go through. She didn't. She almost hit me, and then she rolled her window down and started yelling at me for being there.
Obviously, it was your fault because your name is Jerry. But other than you, listen, I was actually made a report to the police yesterday because I was at a crosswalk with a crossing guard in the middle of the intersection with kids crossing. The sign was out, and a gentleman decided to make a left turn and drive around the crossing guard, where there's a legal requirement for you to wait until all persons are off the roadway, including that crossing guard, before going. So we have generally lazy or uninformed drivers making a lot of mistakes.
Okay, then should I have noted her license plate and contacted police? Because I sort of feel like they'll go, well, what am we supposed to do about it? We didn't see it.
On private property, it wouldn't be something that could be enforced. They couldn't get a ticket for not waiting for you to get out of the way. If they would have struck you, if it was there's always something you can put into a report to say it happened. It records it, and then next time something happens involving this person, there's a record of it. But would they send a letter? Possibly. Like what I expect to happen from the report I made yesterday is a letter going to the registered owner saying, at this date and time, you were observed doing this. It's not legal. Don't do it again. They wouldn't lay charges necessarily on it. Which is unfortunate because I'd love to write some tickets. I miss it.
Okay, well, this woman rolled her window down and started yelling at me, and it may shock you to realize I responded. So then she drove away, and the security for the mall drove up, and he rolled his window down and said to me, "What's the problem?" And I told him, and it was funny because he actually like put his hand on his chest and said, "I'm sorry." I said, "Well, it wasn't your fault." But then that was it. That's the extent of what happened. Sean Shapiro is with us, the TikTok former traffic cop. Here's Phil from Newmarket. Phil?
Thanks for having me on. I do a lot of walking in the area, and I see great potential for a lot of accidents where there's, of course, you're allowed to make a right turn on a red light when you're driving, but when there's a crosswalk at that junction and the pedestrian is concentrated on the white man giving the signal to it's okay to walk. So all that the driver's thinking on is making a right turn and focused on that.
Yeah.
And the pedestrians focused on the white man.
All right, so, Phil, I think what you're saying is neither one is paying attention to anything other than themselves.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Because they're doing it because they know they've only got a certain amount of time to make the move.
Okay, thanks for that, Phil. How do you react to that, Sean?
The simple truth is that traffic safety is a shared responsibility. Pedestrians need to make sure that they're doing everything right, and drivers need to be doing everything right as well. And when everyone's doing the right thing, we won't or should not have collisions. So the drivers have to come to those complete stops. They can only proceed when it's safe to do so. And pedestrians, just because you believe you have the right of way, you don't step out onto that roadway unless you're confirmed. And this is confirmed that the other vehicle isn't coming. And this is where tinted windows come into play. So many vehicles on the road have such dark tinted windows that are illegal. Well, pedestrians can't see the drivers. They have no idea if the driver sees them. There's no nonverbal communication. It's a big problem.
Somebody just wrote in, Sean, it's not lazy. It's impatient and ignorant.
Entitlement is another major factor, yes.
All right. Sean Shapiro, the TikTok former traffic cop, where do people find you?
Askatrafficcop.ca. You can get links to all of our stuff.
Askatrafficcop.ca. Always good to have you. Thanks very much.
My pleasure. Take care.
Now, in this, the perception and reality of.
Okay. Always fun to talk to Jerry and the gang. You know what? It's funny. We talk about it, we go in cycles. It's the same stuff. And it's great that we talk about it. And I'm sorry to Harry Kolos, who said his name out loud, wants to get Rush tickets, because now I got to log into the iHeartRadio app to try and get Rush tickets, because that would be, I like Rush. I haven't listened to them in a long time, but I do enjoy the music. Okay. Let's go back. I missed a bunch of stuff. We could avoid so much tragedy if we just slowed the hell down and we're a little more patient and courteous to one another, because that's what we need to do. All right. Archie Alpine says, because insurance costs are getting insane, you pay new vehicle premiums from new till 20 years. So you're saying the option should be not to pay for insurance? Dude, that's absolutely the wrong thing to do. Not only could you spend time in jail, not only could you get that $5,000 to $25,000 fine, as we discussed earlier, but you are open to liability. And don't try. If you can't afford to drive, don't drive. That's not to be a prick. It's just that it's the cost of doing business. Get a cheaper car, get an older car, be legal if you're on the road. And not only should you have coverage, and like the maximum you can be sued for in Ontario is $2 million. I pay for the $2 million. It's a small increase in your premium to get the extra $1 million in coverage. Be covered for $2 million if you can be sued up to $2 million, because if you're sued for $2 million and they award the other person $2 million, but you're covered for one, guess what? You're coming up with $1 million, even if you're making a payment plan for the rest of your life. So people say, well, I'll get a ticket for no insurance card, $65 every once in a while. They won't even get wise to me. Yeah, they will. And that's just the least of your problems. You get a $65 ticket, and then you get, the $5,000 to $25,000 ticket when they figure out, and they have 3 years to lay that charge. So you might get at the side of the road a $65 ticket, but when the officer goes back and does his homework in his downtime and says, oh, that guy that I gave a $65 ticket to, I gotta go back and lay a charge. They just look you up and give a charge. Rusty says, what about my question? But I don't see your question, Rusty. It might have been filtered by the magic of AI. And wait. Oh, what's the law about private contractors that plow parking lots and leave snow on sidewalks? There are laws about not spreading, if it's municipal or HTA, but there's a law that says you can't put the snow onto the ground. It's enforceable. Let me see if I can pull it up. Uno momento. By the way, I had a scare. I went to go live. I may not have noticed this, but I went live like 5 minutes later than I was supposed to. And it's because when I pressed go, the internet went down. I had no internet. I didn't have a panic attack. I was just really pissed off. And I went up and reset my router. But holy moly, what timing is that? Like, you press go and the icon disappears. We have no internet. This has happened to me on more than one occasion. And I think it's like, stuff and things messing with my day. All right, let's look at HDA, and I'm going to look at snow, and it's about plowing. Let me see if I can find it. No, I can't find it. Here it is. Deposit snow or ice on roadway. It's section 181 of the HTA. It's a $110 fine when you factor in the victim fine surcharge. It says no person shall deposit snow or ice on a roadway without permission in writing. So to do. I've never seen wording like this, or if I have, I just never noted how weird it sounds. in writing, so to do from the ministry or road authority responsible for the maintenance of the road. No person. I thought it was specifically for private contractors. This says no person. I'd have to look at the actual wording. This is a short form wording. I was under the impression it was contractors as opposed to persons, as in you shoveling it onto the roadway yourself. There you go. It's a ticket. So you could, if you saw it, you can complain. If a police officer witnessed it, they can write a ticket. The problem is most of them aren't going to be witnessed. Now, if you can see, obviously, if we're seeing it as a police officer, if the people are making complaints, a community complaint, that it's happening at a particular mall parking lot, well, an investigation wouldn't be difficult. You go to the management company of the mall parking lot and say, who handles your snow removal because you're doing this, and then you go investigate and lay charges. So there is a path to enforcement there. So sorry we missed your original question. Thank you for reminding me to go back and look for it. Chica wants to know if you can get fined for not having winter tires. Not in Ontario, but if in Quebec, which I think is the only province in Canada that enforces this or has a law related to having winter tires, there you can get a ticket for it. Now, what is your fine for not having winter tires in Ontario or elsewhere in Canada? The collision that you end up getting involved in and your insurance rates getting up. Now, you get a discount in most scenarios when you have winter rated tires. You get a discount from your insurance company, which is meant to be an incentive. And if you have that incentive, if you have that discount and you don't put the winter tires on your vehicle, they can either deny you coverage or at least take away your discounts. So it is a good idea. Now, I'm actually editing. I was working till midnight editing the episode that is to go out the next couple of days, all about winter tires, which is going to be very educational. I really enjoyed recording this one with my friend Ulrich. We're gonna have that for you soon. But winter tires are not just bumpy tires for the cold. They're not just pliable, good. Like, there's a lot that goes into a winter tire, and having the right kind of tire for the right type of driving is really important. Gabby Baxter says that's only if you are 2 million liability. Most are set at 1 million. What's only 2 million? But you can be sued up to 2 million only if you no. I'm not sure who we're talking to now. Is it illegal to turn left on red from one way to another one way? No. And you have no name. You just have an icon or a dot. It is legal in Ontario to make a left turn on a red light when you are on a one-way street going to another one-way street. That is the only time that you're allowed to make a left turn on a red, one way to one way. Otherwise, but you have to come to a complete stop, and it has to be to ensure that there's no sign preventing it. Trey, you're hilarious. Okay. I'm going to look at, by the way, thank you for the New Year message. And 4 kids in a Porsche says, big fan of Jerry Agar, common sense. Okay. Now, old school, because he believes in individual responsibility. Let me scroll back because we were talking about something with you. And you wanted to know what the last moving violation I got. I probably got I think I got a 15 over or a stop sign when I was like 17 or 18 years old. Moving violation. The violations that I've received that I talked about was parking related. I parked in a place I thought I was covered for, and I wasn't. I was too close to an intersection. I got a ticket for that. It was like $50. But moving violation, I don't recall having had one in the last 30 years or more. Okay. I agree with the tax on behavior concept. Tax on bad behavior. Okay. Scrolling back, because I want to go back to that comment that I know we were in the midst of. Oh, this is a 2-tier policing concept. If it's a left-wing cause, there seems to be more patience than if it's a conservative issue in terms of protests. Touchy subject. I don't know if it's like, I think a lot of it looks bad. When the police don't interfere with or stop or prevent protesters who are obviously interfering with people's ability to move around, they're breaking all sorts of laws and they're choosing not to. Likely they're doing it for officer safety and trying to keep the peace. They get a lot of information. They follow up and investigate behind the scenes, and then they make arrests after the fact. They don't jump into the crowd and take people down and arrest them, because what happens, and you see it constantly in all this media coverage, is the crowd goes wild and you have a violent crowd or a potentially violent crowd. Most of the people on the right, well, tends to be a smaller group for one, tends to be law-abiding. So when you arrest someone for something on the right, they tend to comply, and everyone goes on with their day. So it's easier to deal with those people, and it happens right then and there. I am very happy to see that they're making a lot of arrests that need to be made now. So I don't know if it's truly two-tier policing, as many have said, or if it's just the optics are bad because it doesn't get the result that we'd like to see. And I'm with you. Like, when someone breaks the law, and when we're talking about protesters, I want them to be arrested. And it's much more satisfying when it happens immediately. But very often that isn't tactically sound or the best form of public safety. And that's what they're trying to manage. And it sucks, right? Because it doesn't look good. It looks like they're favoring one group over another. And I don't think that it necessarily is favoring. I think it's all about safety. Okay. And I see Logan Grant. What's going on, brother? Long time no see. Happy New Year. Good to see you. We got to get you back on the show. What is this? Okay. Bad boys. What did bad boys say? Bro, get over it. Not sure what he's talking about. Archie Alpine says Americans, Europeans don't know what we're talking about there. Aaron Gamer 79 sent a heart, a gift, a thank you. Much appreciated. WSBK says, Sean, I slowly and carefully ran a red light to let an ambulance pass. I cannot be cited, right? I actually have video because I saw a video of somebody running the light, but I have a video because in front of me, somebody did the same thing. And I was tempted to call and have a conversation with the supervisor about the paramedic who got the oncoming traffic was perfectly clear. They chose to get into a lock zone where they could not get out and then hammered the sirens until someone got out of their way, which was not lawful. Lawful for them to do whatever they want with the sirens. It was not lawful for the person to get out of the way. It would not be lawful for you to slowly and carefully run a red light for police, fire, or ambulance. Could you be ticketed? You could. If it caused a collision, would you be charged? Would you be responsible? Absolutely. And there's nothing that anyone could do to protect you from the liability component of it. So even if the police officer says, we're not going to charge you, we appreciate you, we're doing everything right, you're going to get screwed when it comes to insurance time. You're going to get screwed for liability and for all the people you may have hurt. Now, in your situation, nothing happened. I'm going to assume that you ran the red light with all good intentions, trying to help out and be a good Samaritan, and it all worked out. And in that case, I imagine nothing would happen. You're not going to get a ticket because you did the right thing morally for the right reasons, even though it was technically illegal, and nothing happened. But had it gone differently, had you hurt someone unintentionally, you would have been the poo-poo end of the stick. Tim says everybody has the after me you come free. Boom, boom, boom. With regards to sovereign citizens who say they don't have to present driver's license or get out when requested, what's the law say? Well, first of all, sovereign citizens are a made-up fantasy bullshit. They don't exist. It's just baloney. They have to comply with the directions of police officers. And different states have different laws as to whether or not they can lawfully demand and remove you from a vehicle. But I can tell you that here in Ontario, when you don't roll down your windows, you don't comply, and you don't provide identification, you get arrested, which means we could smash the window and pull you out of the driver's seat, and all sorts of things happen. It goes south really, really fast. I actually really, really enjoy the videos where judges have just finally lost their shit and are laughing and outright throwing away the friendly speak and just telling the sovereign citizens the truth. This is not Fantasyland, and their claims have no the sovereign claims have no value, and you can either spend time in jail or you can comply with the court orders. Right? Like it's come to a head. Like there's no more crap. Carl Freeman, good morning. Good to see you. Let's see here. MSVIP says some provinces you get lesser cost insurance. Yes, like in British Columbia, it's fairly low cost from what I understand, and they also have no benefits. When you get hurt, you're so screwed because I think the maximum payout for most things is like $5,000. So in a situation where you could have millions of dollars of medical and damages, and you sue, and you're trying to get coverage, and you've lost work, and $5,000, you saved money on your insurance. You get what you pay for in most situations. I was the victim of a collision where somebody caused the collision. I was injured and taken off the road, and I lost tons of money in my career because I couldn't work the way I used to work. I couldn't do overtime. I couldn't be on the road. I had an $18,000, I think, car rental that worked because I had good insurance and I was covered and I was in the right. Ace says, Sean, how you doing, bro? I'm doing well. Thanks, Ace. Thanks for asking. Rusty says, I got a discount for having winter tires. The discount is a whopping $12. Hey, $12 is $12. Jeff, thanks for the gift. Thoughts on whether they have the authority to detain? This is Scooty asking the question, but I'm not entirely certain as to what you're referring to. So I need more context. Laj wants to know, is no fault really no fault? What no fault really means is your insurance covers your claim, their insurance covers their claim, and then there's something called subrogation, which happens in the background. So after the fact, fault is absolutely determined, and the insurance companies have to fight it out later. So there's still fault on private property. There's no fault. Like they're not going to. You're not going to get a. No, there's probably still fault. It's still the biggest difference is your insurance company pays for your stuff and then recovers the money from the other side. I think that's the best way to address the question, because absolutely there's a fault determination guide in Ontario. Let's have a look here. How? Okay, let's look for the teaching notes on how to best describe this. Ontario has a no-fault insurance, which means after a collision, you deal with your own insurance company first, no matter what or who caused it. That's it. That's the core idea. That's what I said. Your own insurance pays you your benefits, including your medical, income replacement, attendant care, repair or replacement of your vehicle. You do not have to sue the other driver to get your treatment or income support. But no fault does not mean that the fault does not matter, does not mean that nobody is blamed, does not mean that bad drivers are protected, does not mean that police stop investigating. Also what I said. Fault matters for insurance premiums, driving records, lawsuits, and scenario cases, or in serious cases, and some coverage decisions. Cool. So it's not really fault. And thank you. They said my answer was good. Awesome. What's our time like? 11:02. Okay. Anna Pato says, hi, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. Let's see here. Starboy says, do you have any advice for someone looking for insurance after 2 DUIs, or is that not your department? Yeah. Listen, DUIs, this is driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol. You're in a situation where you are going, like, you have to have insurance available to you, but you're probably going to pay like thousands a month. No one's going to touch you for a very long time. So you're going to be in something called facility. Facility is where all insurance companies put it into a pot, and it says because you have to legally have insurance available to you, but they don't regulate how much it's going to cost, which means you screwed up with 2 DOIs, and they will offer it to you, but it's going to be exorbitant. It's going to be super duper expensive. And maybe not driving for a while is going to be way cheaper. Like, you could probably drive everywhere you want to go by taxi, Uber, or limo cheaper than having insurance on a vehicle. Just saying. We have talked about a whole bunch of stuff, and there's more to talk about, but it's going to be tomorrow evening where we get to talk about it, because the show is over, folks. We do an hour at minimum. I try and go longer sometimes, but it's 11 o'clock, and I have got stuff and things to do today. So I will leave you with this. No, I won't. Hold on a second. I forgot that I got jokes sent to me, and it was by my good friend. Hang on a second. I'm multitasking while talking. It's not working. Did he send it to me here? No, he sent it to me on Telegram. Stand by. Here we go. Where'd it go? Okay. Today's jokes. I didn't load the video, but we'll.
Greetings and salutations. This is Akela Draconus reporting from Kingston, where it's another gray and cold day. Welcome back from Florida, Sean. Anyway, today's jokes are coming to you right now. What's Icarus's least favorite food? Hot wings. Why didn't the ghost go to the party? He had no body to go with. And when you're born, you actually have 4 kidneys. But as you get older, 2 of them turn into adult knees.
Adult knees,
and
yeah.
For a quote for today, let's go with Harriet Beecher Stowe. Bitterest tears shed over graves are for the words left unsaid and deeds left undone.
All right.
Thanks. Remember, stay safe. Don't have a good day. Have a great day.
Fantastic. Thank you to Akela Draconus for sharing the jokes. He used to send it to me every day and I'd read them. And then I said, why don't you make a video or make an audio and I'll play it for you? And if you sent it to me earlier, I acknowledged it. And then I had the whole kerfuffle with my internet going down and I got distracted. But here we are. There they are. Thank you so much, Akela, for the jokes. Much appreciated. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in, who's contributed by way of questions, gifts, following. I appreciate you. If you want to listen to this again, you can get it on YouTube. You can, of course, get it as a podcast when I eventually post it. I'm a little behind, but I post episodes on different podcasting platforms so you can download them and not burn data. You can download them at home and listen while you're in the car. Maybe you can hang out for an hour every day. And we used to do this every day. So with that, I bid you adieu. We will see you tomorrow at 9 p.m. Where I'll be back again to help people in a different, not time zone so much as, when we got time available. So that's it. That's my story. I hit the button, so I remember I got to say goodbye. Have a great day. Drive safe, drive sober, park legally, and be good to one another. We don't have a lot of time on this planet. Let's be nice to each other. It's a better ride. All right. I don't know what else to say. Episode 1 in the bag. We're back tomorrow for episode 2, but it's the After Dark version. Yeah, it'll be cool. Forgot to turn that off.